So I was surfing through the PlayStation store whilst sipping champagne, counting all my money and lying on a YouTube video when suddenly I saw it, out of the corner of my eye. An old friend inviting me in, perhaps to remind me of a time when life was simpler, spirits were higher, and my metabolism wasn't so fucking terrible. Well, my old comrade, I'm not usually one for looking back, but if it's a retrospective you want, it's a retrospective you shall have. Okay, well, that's incredibly annoying. Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy. It's a collectathon platformer game from back in 2001, the first game in the Jak and Daxter series, and it was recently released on the PS4 in mouthwateringly sexy HD. I mean, it already had an HD version on the PS3, but whatever, get with the times, grandpa. Now, this is a game that I remember very fondly from when I was but a wee babe, and even though I like all of the Jak and Daxter games, okay, most of the Jak and Daxter games, the Precursor Legacy has always been my favourite. I know I use this phrase a lot, but this game really is bursting with energy. It's definitely the most charming game in the series, and it's the only one where this young, cartoony elf guy isn't packing heat. But let's talk about the story. It all started when Jak and his buddy Daxter were fucking around on Misty Island one day looking for trouble. They come across some blue people giving a rousing speech to a bunch of goblins, so they retreat to a pool of dark eco. Suddenly, a goblin pops out of nowhere, a scuffle ensues, Daxter falls into the dark eco pool and turns into a rodent. But he still has his little goggles and gloves, cause, you know, why wouldn't he? So Jak and Daxter have to set off to find the sage who can turn Daxter back to normal, although I still don't know why he even wants to. I mean, fucking look at him. Overall, I really like the story. Like I said, this is a very charming game, not only in the way it looks, but in the way it's written. All the characters you meet are very silly and funny with cartoony designs and voices, and I especially love how Daxter is portrayed. See, in this one, Jak is a mute, so Daxter talks for both of them, and I know there are some people who find him annoying, cause, well, he is annoying, but I still fucking love him. Throughout the game, he acts as both the comic relief and a helper for the player, often giving helpful hints, reminding you of what you need to do, and being a snarky little prick whenever you mess up.
I'll say something really teary at the funeral, like, how am I gonna get changed back now?
What the fuck is wrong with you? Your best friend just died! Something I think is really impressive about the Precursor Legacy is just how ahead of its time it was. I mean, I know this version's in HD, but still, this shit is from 2001 and it still looks so appealing. It's just an incredibly polished game overall. The stages are well designed with distinct layouts, the music and sound effects are generally spot on, and the animation is absolutely fantastic, especially in the little celebration Jak and Daxter do when they get a power cell. Yeah, I dance like that too. So it's got a great story, nice visuals, and some wonderful gravity-defying hair, but what's the gameplay like? Well, to put it simply, you pick up eggs. No, but like I said, the Precursor Legacy is a collectathon, so naturally most of what you do is collect things, like eggs, robot flies, and the most important thing of all, power cells. And the gameplay's a lot of fun. You run through stages, fight bad guys, jump on platforms, or more accurately, try to jump on platforms but misjudge your distance and fall into the eternal nothingness. It's pretty standard third-person platforming stuff, but it works mostly well, and like I said, the stages are fun, so no complaints here. And the platforming isn't the only thing on offer. There's also mini-games like fish catching and animal shooting, not as violent as it sounds. Sections where you drive a hoverbike and do sick jumps and turns and stuff. And bits where you ride a giant bird called a flut, except I didn't get any footage of that. So, here's a picture. Wow. It's like I'm really there. I do really like that the gameplay isn't just jumping and punching. I mean, you can always rely on Naughty Dog to make a varied game, but for this one it really seems like they made an effort to spice things up a bit. But even though I like this game a lot, I don't think it's entirely without its faults. I mean, there's small stuff wrong with the core game, like the platforming can sometimes feel a bit off, and there are a few too many missions where it's literally just, hey, give me some eggs and I'll give you a power cell. Ah, cool. Okay, here you go. Awesome, I'm glad we did this. But weirdly, my biggest problems are the technical issues I had with the PS4 version I was playing. For some fucking reason, the game just couldn't handle certain cutscenes, and whenever I would try to watch them, the game would just crash. Bandicoot. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. But seriously, right now getting all the power cells in this version is impossible, because you have to watch certain cutscenes before you can get certain power cells, and at the moment, you certainly can't. The PlayStation 4, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause for the best console ever. But really, I'm sure they'll fix it soon, and hey, even though this version has its problems, the game itself is still great, and that's the important thing. I was really young when this game came out, and when I played it for the first time, I didn't appreciate just how cutting edge it was. I mean, I wasn't supposed to, I was like 6 years old, I pretty much just liked the flashing colors. But seriously, the beautifully designed areas, the fun, varied gameplay, the nearly non-existent loading times, like this game really was state-of-the-art stuff at the time. Plus, it had a fucking day and night cycle. I mean, name one other game from 2001 that had that. Actually don't, because that wouldn't be very helpful to me. Point is, Jak and Daxter the Precursor Legacy really made an effort to be better than the rest, and that's just one of the reasons I think it still holds up today. Well, that and the complete lack of a live system, thank fucking Christ! Jak and Daxter the Precursor Legacy, a perfect example of why console exclusive games used to be a good thing, and now, not so much.